Uh, Ever wonder if your favorite actor truly loved every role they played? Sometimes the magic we see on screen hides a complicated backstory. Um, and today we are diving into the world of Hollywood contracts, those binding agreements that have forced actors to take roles they despised, all for the sake of fulfilling their obligations. It's a side of show business that rarely makes the headlines, but it's something. It's a reality for many stars. Uh, Emily Blunt found herself in a tricky situation, obligated to star in Gulliver's Travels, and due to a longstanding contract with 20th Century Fox, this commitment meant sacrificing the chance to become Black Widow in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, a role many fans envisioned her in. It was a heartbreaking trade-off, but a professional one she had to make. Edward Norton's experience with the Italian job was equally frustrating, forced to participate due to a deal signed for Primal Fear. He reportedly tried to exit the project multiple times. His dissatisfaction was so strong that he refused to promote the film, showcasing the lengths actors will go to when creatively stifled. Channing Tatum openly admits he hated the script for Gee, I. Um, the Rise of Cobra. However, a three-picture deal with Paramount left him with little choice. He attempted to decline the role 7 times, but the studio held firm, reminding him of his contractual obligations. Sometimes a paycheck trumps artistic fulfillment. Whoopi Goldberg faced a $20 million lawsuit when she tried to back out of Theodore Rex after reading the script. The production company was determined to have her on camera, and she eventually reached a settlement to film the movie for a reduced fee. It was a costly lesson in the power of legal agreements and Mike Myers found himself in a peculiar situation after walking away from a Saturday Night Live project. The studio sued him for $30 million, leading to a settlement that required him to star in The Cat in the Hat. He spent hours in prosthetics, ultimately expressing dissatisfaction with the final product. Like Keanu Reeves reluctantly appeared in The Watcher after a friend signed his name to the contract without his knowledge, despite his attempts to prove the forgery. He decided to film the movie to avoid a lengthy legal battle. And he even negotiated a 12-month delay before the studio could use his name in marketing. Natalie Portman's discomfort with the direction of Thor: The Dark World led her to attempt to exit the production. However, Marvel Studios held her to the multi-picture agreement she had signed, uh, forcing her to complete her scenes despite her reservations. Jennifer Garner found herself in a similar situation with Elektra. While enjoying her role as the character in Daredevil, she was unhappy with the script for the spinoff. Uh, Despite her feelings, she fulfilled her contractual obligations, delivering a committed performance. Val Kilmer initially refused to star in Top Gun. Silly, finding the script silly. However, a three-picture contract with Paramount Pictures forced him to take the role. He even purposefully acted difficult in meetings, hoping to be fired. But the studio held firm. Brad Pitt wanted to quit Interview with the Vampire during production, finding the filming conditions depressing. He even asked how much it would cost to leave, only to discover he'd have to pay $40 million to break his contract. He completed the movie, but not without significant frustration. Marlon Brando starred in Desiree to settle a lawsuit with 20th Century Fox after walking away from The Egyptian. He used a high-pitched voice and intentionally forgot his lines, showing his disdain for the project, but ultimately fulfilling his obligation. Gene Hackman returned for Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. Due to a clause in his original contract, he was famously unhappy with the reduced budget and production quality, but fulfilled his obligation, marking the end of the original franchise. Bruce Willis agreed to a cameo in the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift to resolve a legal dispute. The studio threatened to sue him for millions, leading to a deal where he'd appear in the film in exchange for the rights to the Riddick franchise. Charlton Heston reluctantly starred in Beneath the Planet of the Apes due to a contract. He felt the story was weak, but agreed to a small role, ensuring that the film could be completed despite his reservations. That Tippi Hedren found herself trapped in a controlling contract with Alfred Hitchcock, who refused to let her work with other filmmakers. This effectively stifled her career and prevented her from capitalizing on her fame. Christopher Lee was pressured into returning for The Scars of Dracula due to a contract with Hammer Films. He disliked the scripts, but agreed to film the movie to protect the livelihoods of the crew. Then Affleck was obligated to film Daredevil as part of a multi-picture deal with 20th Century Fox. He later admitted he hated the movie, but he fulfilled his obligation, eventually finding success as Batman with a different studio. Geena Davis starred in Cutthroat Island due to a contract with her then husband. The production was troubled, and the film became a massive box office disaster, significantly impacting her career. Bette Davis was forced by Warner Brothers to star in Marked Woman as part of her studio contract. She sued the studio to gain more control over her career, but ultimately had to fulfill her obligations, delivering a powerful performance. Olivia de Havilland appeared in Government Girl despite a contract dispute with Warner Brothers. Her legal battle led to the creation of the de Havilland Law, limiting the length of personal service contracts in California. Daniel Craig was contractually obligated to return for Spectre, despite expressing a desire to leave the James Bond franchise. He fulfilled his obligation, delivering a massive box office hit, and eventually returned for one final installment. And these stories remind us that behind the glamour of Hollywood, there's often a complex web of contracts and obligations It's a world where the artistic freedom can sometimes take a back seat to legal agreements. And it's a fascinating glimpse behind the curtain of the entertainment industry. So what do you think? Share your thoughts on these Hollywood contract stories in the comments. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time,